I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is.
Welcome to the Sunday Fun Day podcast. The Hangover never sounded so good. We just played the opening, the opening of North of Richmond by Oliver Anthony. It has become the world's fastest taking over song. But the funny thing is it is one of those things. It's one of those songs that's starting to unite people, starting to unite them. Because I think at the end of the day, we're starting to recognize that we're all experiencing some level of pain in this country, here in the United States, and that the people north of Richmond, it's not like talking about Fairfax County, they're talking about Washington, D.C.
Not Fredericksburg.
And we're talking about Washington, D.C., where politicians and lobbyists and people who are extremely wealthy and politically, controlling have kind of just capsulated all of our power. And now everyone's kind of fed up. And I've watched many people talk about this subject matter. So today on the Sunday Fun Day podcast, The Hangover Never Sounded So Good, we're going to talk about it, and we even have Eli the Rage here with us today. He's stepped from behind the production side. He's going to come out and talk with us. But as always, let's get to it. Welcome to the Sunday Fun Day podcast. The Hangover never sounded so good. I'm your host, Akil Patterson. I'm joined by the instigator, Mark Togny, and the sexiest man that ever lived, the man who squeezes it all out, the juice, and we've got the Rage. We are talking about the North of Richmond song that's kind of taken us by storm here in the United States. This is the Sunday podcast. The Hangover never sounded so good. Let's get to it. All right. So we were just talking, and I do plan on sharing more information, but I want to get you guys' takes on this North of Richmond song and how the world's kind of just been just raging about it. Mark, you start.
Well, when we have our little pre-production meetings, we talk about certain things. We play the song back, and a lot of interesting opinions and feedback came out of that pre-production. And for me, I guess I'll just go ahead and spit it out. Obviously, not a lot of Americans read. They don't read. And what I'm realizing is that's great. Sure. He's saying the song, and it's outside the forest, and it looks good. And it's powerful. It's powerful. But there is a whole bunch of people that have known this for decades. It's written in books. This has been replayed itself over and over again. I think it's great that I guess we're at a place in society where we don't access information anymore through reading or through story. If a song can educate people and can get people on board to sharing the secret, then that's great.
Sure.
There are things that I agree with. There are things I disagree with in the song. I know a little bit about the guy's background, so he's going to be biased. He's also singing the song from West Virginia. I got a bait dog from West Virginia, so I got my own opinions about some people that come out of West Virginia, especially people who've had trouble in the past.
Sure.
It's easy to do that. So at the end of the day, I think it's fantastic that it's getting us talking. And Akil brought up an interesting point earlier. He's like, I want to solve stuff. So if we can do this with this guy, the redhead, and the song, and we can solve some stuff, great. My thoughts are probably we're fucked. fucked.
All right.
All right. Let's go to Juice.
So, I mean, here's what I'll say about the song. I think,
Because you're from Virginia, so
right, this guy's singing from West Virginia, right? It's
he
not.
actually is from Virginia.
He is from Virginia.
Yeah,
Okay,
West Virginia is the. There's
See,
like
that's another thing
that's
that
the
gets
company.
so that's another thing that
Yeah.
gets tied in,
No,
right?
it's-
Because we could be specific about there's Appalachia, right? There's
So I'm getting that.
Yeah.
That's-
you know, Richmond is a very
Was I wrong to say West Virginia is a very certain kind of way? Am I
sure.
wrong?
So are parts of Virginia as well. I think this
Okay.
guy. I think regionally we need to realize he's talking about north of Richmond. Richmond is a very dating back to the Civil War. It's a very integral spot, and everything north of that was kind of the North way.
Is that
Everything.
Yankees? If you're north
Sure.
of Richmond, are you Yankees?
No, because
it-
the
it's just-
Mason-Dixon line is
is
in
Maryland.
Maryland,
Yeah.
right?
Okay,
but
he's talking specifically about
he's talking
DC.
specifically about DC, right?
Yeah.
Politicians, the guys on the hill, right?
Carpetbaggers.
Well,
Fat cats, if we
Yeah.
may. But
Fat cats.
I think that right now, what I listen to is like this guy's got a great twang. He's got a great sound. I've listened to his other stuff. It's not bad, but I think right now with the bluegrass is kind of in, right? It's kind of making a comeback. We have Zach Bryan's, Tyler Childers kind of making like the crossover with bluegrass and just sort of. But we get this anthem, right? We get this anthem out of this guy. It's got a lot. It's maybe politically loaded, but it's
saying
talking about hardships.
Was that Johnny Paycheck? Like, take this job and shove it, right?
Sure, exactly. We get it out of this region. I think we just need to understand, I've listened to it a couple times over. I love the sound, right? But again, I'm not diving into lyrics because it's just, again, it's a statement of truth that we've known for a long time.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, Eli.
Oh no, I want to hear you first.
No, this is how this works.
You
am the
direct.
host.
Okay.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, you're behind the camera directing. Now we're on camera.
Yeah, it depends. How I want to look at it. Is it as a song? I think it's mid. I think it's okay. I'm not a crazy fan. I'm not like, oh my god, this is going to be in my rotation. I thought it was okay. It was an okay song.
I liked it. On
I think
Spotify.
why
That's
it
about
is popping off right now is because it hit a certain nerve with people in either direction. Some people decided to take this as, these politicians, they're the problem. It's like, no, we're talking about you too. You're the politician. That's the problem too, which I would agree with. I disagree with other parts of the song. The fudge round thing I thought was pretty dumb.
Let's back up again.
Yeah.
So I did not know what fudge rounds were, and I read the lyrics, but
Yeah.
I honestly, guys,
I think we should have had some to sample.
I thought that they were. I thought he was putting the F word in the song, and they were saying. I thought it was fuck rounds.
Oh, gotcha.
And that
No,
actually
fudge rounds are a real thing.
That actually made sense to me.
I like that interpretation.
Sure.
No,
Okay.
he meant literal
No,
fudge rounds.
like
Yes.
fudge rounds or like ring dings or devil
Little-
dogs.
Which
whatever
I
the
think it
host
comes
is.
back to what you can buy off of welfare, maybe
Yeah.
what you can get off of stamps, which are unhealthy gas station foods.
Yeah.
And they're those are, and do people choose to
So are you saying that people on EBT aren't going to farmers markets?
I think that's what he's saying. Maybe
Yeah.
yes,
Well,
right.
some people
yeah.
don't have access to them.
Right. Some
But
people don't
there's-
have access. That's all they can
Yeah.
get. They go down. Coming from where I'm from, which is Virginia. Sometimes the 7-Eleven is the closest to you. It's the easiest place to get to when you have no transportation.
Yep.
Right. When you don't have any access because of your situation in like the 7-Eleven is right there. You need to eat. You need to feed
Not
your
everybody
children.
can drive their EV to those seasons.
You know,
that's-
and like things are spread out.
Yeah.
It's not, you're not in a big city,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Things are spread out. And it's like, it's maybe 0.5 miles to the closest gas station, 7-Eleven that takes the EBT card versus driving into,
Oh God, you got to go to the next county to go to
40
some Walmart.
minutes, 40 minutes to get to a Walmart
Yeah.
even, right? Which is your best
No, he's right.
next choice.
Yeah.
So you're going to go down to that 7-Eleven because your baby's screaming, you need to feed.
or Plaid Pantry or whatever.
Something
you
like
got.
that. Yeah, wherever
just-
you are, I think it's
So basically, what you're telling me is the fact that you're giving me this great visual
yeah.
that makes complete sense is that most of America doesn't really know what the is going on, and we've forgotten about a whole bunch of people.
We just got to look at it
I
a little
think-
deeper.
asking.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Eli.
Oh no, I was just saying. I think that just circles back to my point of I think as a piece of art, I don't really care for it. As a political piece of art, I think it's incoherent. So that's my quick buzz on the song.
I mean, I think that I don't think it's incoherent. I think I agree with Juice's statement. It's more of a, hey, yeah, there's a lot going on there.
He didn't sing about food deserts. He didn't sing about it.
But
They can't
again,
get good food.
all I said
I'm
is
just addressing the
no.
song.
I hear you,
Yeah.
and all I'm saying is but that's part of sparking conversation, and that goes back to Juice's point where he's just like, there's a lot going on that makes people, eat this stuff.
Sure.
There's a lot of things. So
I think he would.
I love the fact that he sparked a conversation because that's what we're doing here at the SFD. We're sparking conversation.
It's a macro hot button.
Yeah.
And no matter how you want to look at the song, it's a macro song, and we can Micronesia it all we want and go, hey, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. But at the end of the day, what he did do was he put 4 males of differing backgrounds in a room together that are at least discussing it. And I think that, so here's my question for the host and everybody here is like, what comes of it?
Well,
What comes of it?
I'm going to answer this one very quickly. It starts off when the part where he goes, I've been selling. let me just go ahead and do it. I've been selling my soul. Oh, I can't even do it now.
You can't do
Yeah.
that, dude.
It's Sugar Man.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay. That's the part that got me. Is that I do remember being that person where I'm like, yo, I used to work mad hours. I'm talking about like sometimes like 70, 80 hours a week at a just a job where I was getting like $12.50 an hour. And then seeing that check when I got it going, man, the more I worked, the more the government took.
Sure. I think, though, if we're talking about overtime hours, I think these days, there's a lot of guys back home that work in factories, working, in those rural counties, I think you get paid overtime.
No, you do get paid overtime. But remember, the more you make,
Time and a half.
the more you make, the more they take.
Taxes.
Yeah, taxes.
Sure.
So you're like,
Okay.
I just worked all these hours.
Bullshit
and
wage. It's not. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying with the bullshit wage is
Right.
about. I'm not getting paid enough. The people. It's not the
It's
government
not.
taking money. I'm not getting given the money in the first place.
Yeah, and
That's what he's saying.
We
right?
all agree.
Yeah.
But I think that you're getting given, but that you're also getting taken from, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's all on paper.
You're also giving up, and then this is like waste. And he goes, so I can sit out here and waste my life away. Like you can't do anything with that little bit of scratch money they give you. You
Just
can't
enough to get
enjoy
by.
yourself.
Just enough to get by, maybe.
You can work
Yeah.
more hours.
But okay, all right. So remember, I came out this way. So that is a construct that you accepted.
Right. Because
That is
sorry.
a construct you accepted. Now we could talk about how you accepted it, and you didn't have the same opportunities that this guy had to be able to make
Sure.
choices with the acceptance.
Sure,
so this is
sure.
what this guy got.
Okay.
But dude, at some point in time, we talked about this, the dead guy, and the friend comes to the altar and says, "My friend, I can give you 1,000 virgins," and the guy doesn't fucking wake up, right? And he goes, "My friend, I can give you all the gold in the world."
Hold on. What story?
This is an old
This is
fucking
a
proverb story. Yeah, this
Aesop's fables. Or I don't know if that's Aesop's fables.
I
It
have
just
no
sounds
idea.
horny Aesop.
I have no idea. I have no idea what the story is. I don't remember
Okay,
ever
so
hearing it.
Continue.
the long and the short of it is the only thing that we possess
Yeah.
is us. You can't come back to life. When you're dead, no one comes back to that because they gold accepted. No. The only thing they ever possessed in their whole life was this mortal coil that you have. So when you pop out, I'm sorry if you're at the 1 or 2 of Maslow's hierarchy where all you're trying to do is get food and you can't think about your lifespan. You get
Right.
85 years here on this planet of consciousness and you're going to relegate yourself to working in the coal mine all day.
Sure,
We're
sure.
working overtime for no pay. And you've been doing it over and over and over and over again, and you haven't figured out a way out of that. You haven't figured out, okay, hey, listen, is this what I want my life to be? That's what I'm
And
getting at. That's all I'm getting at.
there is a way out because like
That's all I'm getting at.
You lost me there.
You only have 85 years. here.
75. When we talk
Or
about the 75 summers,
So
75
it's like,
springs, 75 autumns.
What do you want to do in the
Right.
75 years of consciousness that you have here?
So,
But sorry, go on.
But I think it goes back to what Juice was saying. He's like, some people just really don't know they don't have any choice, and because literally your father worked in the coal mine, your grandfather worked in the coal mine, And the expectation
And those
is,
jobs don't exist anymore.
well, I'm not even going to go there. I'm just saying it's the mind,
can't you?
Eli. I'm saying the mindset is someone
It's
did this.
mindset, then.
Someone worked. Okay, remove coal mine. Say my dad was a mechanic. My grandfather was a mechanic.
And now
Because
that isn't a
you feel like you
possibility.
need to
That's
be-
been
No, it's a
foreclosed on.
mechanic. It's a mechanic. I said mechanic now, right? My dad was a mechanic. My grandfather was a mechanic. I got to be a mechanic, and so they get stuck in that cycle because in
My
their
granddad
homes-
laid floor. My dad laid floor. Right, carpet, tile, hardwood. Right.
Okay.
this is true
His
story.
father.
This
Yes,
is real.
this
This
is
is
my
real. Okay,
life.
got you.
His father laid carpet, hardwood, tile. Right. Didn't neither of them finish high school. That's fine. Right. I found a way to go to school, which honestly, like, what's that worth these days? I moved out here with $3,000 in my pocket, and I made it work for myself.
Yeah.
You know, I'm married with a child, and I have the salary that I
Did you
earned
get
over years.
conscripted, or did you
I
decide?
broke out of the mold. I don't talk to a lot of people back home. I feel like some people felt like I shouldn't have left. Right, I shouldn't have broken outside of the mold that was set for me. That I lived in the same town my whole entire life. I do what my
That's
dad
just
did. I do what my
envy,
grandfather
dude.
did.
That's just envy.
That's
all that
fine.
is.
Right.
That's all
But like
that
I listen to
is.
this shit. There's always a way out. You always have. But like people just they don't think outside the box.
But you need someone
sometimes.
to motivate you to get
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
box.
There's
And I think
coming
there's-
from my life where I try to motivate members of my family to do the same thing I did and lend out a helping hand. It's a hard choice to
trying.
make because it's the lazy thing to do to stay in that life.
Yeah,
And
it's comfortable.
easy.
It's comfortable. And now you made yourself uncomfortable enough to be like, no, I got to step
I
out.
faced the fear and I moved 3,000 miles away and created a different life for myself.
That song doesn't do anything for me to motivate someone to think past all this snow globe of shit we're in. And I have to think past the snow globe of shit that we're in every day in order for me to be a positive person and be like, hey, there's all kinds of great shit happening every day in this world.
Yeah.
It might be microscopic. So like for me, like
But if you're just scraping by, why do you care about? Oh, they're developing a new cure for cancer. I can't afford it.
But if
What are
you're
they?
scraping-
Oh, we're going to India's landing the moon. I don't care. I can't. I'm just thinking about how I'm going to pay rent.
Okay.
So not caring about
So-
all that stuff does
so-
make sense.
but
It makes a lot of sense.
But I think we're it's like but this is a kitchen. This is literally a kitchen table subject matter. This isn't like curing cancer. Sounds great, but I still need to keep the lights on.
But what Mark was saying,
Yeah,
is
that's what I
so,
said.
like, there's a world outside. It's like
Yeah.
when you're just you
But-
see what's just in front of
But
your
I
face. You
think
don't care about
that comes back to
total, that's Maslow's
That-
hierarchy. Like
that-
1, 2, like what
you were saying.
how far shit's projected.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys ever heard, please look up Maslow's hierarchy of needs, so you can
It's
understand what he
huge
says.
because I agree with you, man. Like,
Yeah.
but at some point in time, then like, what are all these what are all the exceptions to the rule? Because Juice, you're kind of an exception to the rule. Then if like we're playing this game,
which is impressive,
Yeah,
right?
Right?
You made
at
it
some
out.
point in time,
expect that
you
as the
decided that I wanted
I don't
more.
expect that as the norm. Yeah.
But
sure.
but here's the thing. Again,
it's doable.
Why did you want
doable.
more than the guy
Well,
next
because
to you?
somebody presented it to him. There's a better
I-
life.
I just had to. Yeah, it's just the way I'm a dreamer. And I
You're more than
But
that.
the reason
Call me
you're-
a dreamer.
The reason your story isn't impressive is because you beat the odds. If you wanted to put it,
yeah,
that way,
and,
right?
and like statistics,
but there's
I
a reason.
can't expect everyone to
Yeah.
to beat the odds,
But-
right?
and-
Because
and
there's more.
a
'cause
biracial-
my shit wasn't. My shit seems hard to me. I could lay it out on paper. I could lay everything out on paper, and it will seem tough. But there's always a different
It's not,
story.
It won't seem tough.
It is tough.
It was tough.
It was tough, and it still can be. But I can't expect that from every person's
Isn't it
background.
crazy for you to have the inferno on one
got the
side
black.
and you have this beautiful daughter and this great wife on the other?
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I did. That's why you know.
But it goes back to, I think what we have is a lot of things mixed up here. We have cultural differences.
Sure.
We
Yes.
have regional differences.
Regional.
We have family differences. Again, because if you think about this, Juice and I are both from the East Coast.
Yeah.
But in the city, things are different. Like you don't walk to the store because it's not because the stores. There's a lot of stores in cities. You just
Sure.
don't walk to sometimes it's not safe to walk through your
There's some
neighborhood.
stores you go to, some stores you don't,
Yeah.
but they're all in equidistant.
Yeah, or some of them are just, it's not safe to walk through your neighborhood.
Do you realize you're talking about a whole nother game than the
For sure.
game that other people play?
For sure.
But
Yeah, exactly.
But also at the same time, I've also lived in rural America.
Yeah.
So I lived in southern Colorado in Cortez. And I remember there was a family, and there was a young man, Spanish kid, Justin. What was Justin's last name? Can't remember. But Justin, wore Wranglers, cowboy boots, cowboy hat, great wrestler. Kid came to me one day and says, "Coach, I can't wrestle." I said, "What's wrong?" He
Gotta work.
Got to work.
Yeah.
He goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Hey man, we had a couple stair not come through, and guess what? I gotta go get some.
I gotta go fix a fence.
Yeah, it's like
'Cause
so
that
many
happens.
little
I can't
things.
play in Friday night game because Dad needs help on the farm.
And again,
right?
but that's
and it's
because
gonna be all night.
because dad's like working these mad hours because he's trying to keep this life that his father left to him.
Yeah.
But one that he didn't really want. And then when I talked to Justin goes, "I didn't really want this life," but he goes, "But my granddad's going to leave it to me, and I gotta maintain the family legacy." It's like, wow. So the generational cycle will continue because Justin, a rural kid, is like, and then Justin's granddad would say the same thing. He's like, "Man, the government keeps taxing us," and I'm like, "Yo, man, they're taxing all of us." Yeah. And then you hear it in this song where it's the urban, it's the rural, it's the suburban. This song is resonating with people because they feel it like here. It's like, I do, and it's simple lyrics. I'm selling my soul, working all day. I can sit here and waste my time and wait, and then I got to drag myself back to work the next day. Right. And we all get in that cycle. Eli, I know you were in that cycle. You're like, I was working in a job I didn't like, and you're like, it was miserable, and I don't ever want to do that.
I now know who to blame for that, right? People are taking my labor, I'm making excess money for them, and they're keeping most of it, and they give me a small portion back. I understand that, right? That's
you blame yourself for that.
No, I blame them.
Why
I blame
do you blame
You're
them?
gonna blame yourself.
Well, because they were told.
They took my money,
But they
and
were
kept it.
They were told.
And then because they own the business, here's your portion back.
No, but that's
thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
You figured it out, right?
But
I understand how
they
it
were
works.
also
It doesn't mean I
told
can
that.
beat the system that way.
But they were told that.
No, that's just how capitalism works.
No, they were. So
True.
they got told.
True.
They got told.
They're getting taken money. You're getting taken more.
I keep more than you. They were told that. Nobody
keep
does
more.
that naturally.
They're getting.
That's accepted. That's because we accept
It's
it and say that's
passed down.
fine.
But
that's
it's
fine.
yeah,
that's okay.
It's told
because we
it's
accept
taught.
it. Here's
These are
the other
learned
thing.
behaviors.
My excess labor was taken from me, stolen, if you will.
Here's a weird.
And that's fine. That's just the accepted. That's the norm. That's
Right.
acceptable. That's fine. But then I could be like, well, the government's taking my money. It's like, well, the government. That's the money I can see being taken out. I don't ever see I'm making $16.25 an hour. I don't see the $40 an hour, $50, $100, whatever I'm making them. That number never even comes up at all.
and it never will.
It never
I
will.
don't get to see that number.
Right.
But again, I'm not.
But I'm seeing the $2 the government's taking out, the $10 the government's taking
But I don't blame them. I blame the system.
Sure, the system,
that
not them
created
individually, but the
Yeah.
system certainly.
But that's what we're all agreeing on.
Right.
That's what I think this song is finally pointing out is like, look, we all feel the system, the same system that people in the Black Lives Matter have been protesting against.
I would say the song doesn't point that out, and that's my
okay.
issue with
well,
it.
so
True.
you like explicit words.
Okay.
No, because this is something that I have to say. You like explicit words to say exactly what they mean and mean what they say. But for me,
that's not true.
that's a take. This is a takeaway: is that the system itself is broken.
Yes.
And this man, he may not know that it's called the system.
Broken, dude.
I want to know what
It's-
I know,
it's
but I wanna
operating
know-
exactly the way it's
But he's
designed
not.
to
He,
operate.
I wanna
he's
know
not
what
pointing,
his-
He is not saying. He's saying in very simple words, something is wrong. Something is very wrong, and the people in north of Richmond seem to keeping like all of this wealth for themselves, and I get nothing. And that's what he's saying in very simple words, because the average person, the average American, has to be able to identify, and that's why this song has become an anthem, so that even the person of the lowest common denominator can understand, I'm tired, I'm fed up, and I want this to change. And my thought is you're right. We do need to change, but we need to not necessarily focus on those people in DC. We need to focus on our local communities and help
agree.
each other out.
I think that
You can disagree.
I thoroughly disagree.
okay.
What are you thoroughly disagreeing about?
He is pointing out a real problem. The rich men, north of Richmond, you don't have to be a genius.
I just said that.
In DC, and
Yes.
you're saying, oh, well, we need to focus our local community.
No, I said I said our solution should be focusing on helping our local
helping.
people.
Okay, sorry, I misinterpreted
you
that.
missed-
I
you
apologize.
missed words. I literally
are.
said
You
help.
guys are fired up. Both of you guys have been all
No,
fired
I just
up.
said.
Well, you are.
Well, I think you just
I
sometimes
said-
miss words, but it's like
Well-
I said help. I think we should help one another.
Okay.
Because that's where it's come down to is that if you cannot help people like amongst yourselves, like your group, your community, your people. Like I see people that I'm like, hey, how could somebody asked me last night? They says, why don't you use DoorDash? I said, I use DoorDash sometimes, but hey, if I know somebody, I could rather just call the restaurant,
I'll just go pick it up.
eliminate the middleman.
Right.
Right?
Sure.
If I know somebody, if I call the restaurant and the restaurant, remember, restaurants delivered.
I like to get in the car.
I remember when
have a
restaurants
fantastic
delivered. Yes.
experience
I
and
like to
hanging
get out
with
of the
people.
house, man. I like to talk to people.
If remember back in the 90s where you would call the restaurant and you'd say, hey, I'd like a delivery. And then they would deliver it. They'd hire somebody to deliver.
Okay, that's awesome.
You guys never had that?
I mean, I was in the film business in the 90s, so someone was doing. I guess maybe I don't know.
You had a runner.
What?
Someone else was making that.
Well,
had a runner.
somebody would go. The Domino's. God, I used to get
Like a pizza delivery is what you're
But
talking
you're
about?
talking about. You were on the East Coast. This is the
Yeah.
East Coast thing you're talking about.
Like,
We're on the
just
West
any
Coast.
restaurant.
No, any restaurant would have a
No,
delivery
no.
person.
See, we're on the West Coast.
Chinese.
It was Chinese and
Portland
pizza.
shut down
No.
at
Chinese
9
in
o'clock.
Italian
Yeah,
restaurants
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Italian
A
A
restaurants too.
takeout menu is what I'm imagining.
Small
Yeah,
town,
but they
that's
would have
small
it
town
almost
shit.
Only
everywhere.
specific restaurants.
Every restaurant that I like, they'd have
shit.
one delivery
Okay, not
driver.
here.
No, not here, dude. And that's the other thing you didn't bring up. That's like Eli and I are from
That's
here.
well, that's why we
Right.
said
Yeah.
he and I from the East Coast. That's what we were
East
saying.
Coast is way more. West
Well, everything's
Coast is-
closer. It's a little different. Yeah. Again, regional differences.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
think
Sure.
that.
So that's also part of how some people understand. It's just to me, there was always somebody you could pick up the
We're
phone.
not so worried about time out here.
I guess not.
you guys live in it's a bubble.
We're not
I
worried
th-
about time.
it's
Yeah,
a
they're like,
timeless
just call
bubble.
DoorDash. I'm like, cut out the middleman.
I know.
Because
yeah.
you know, traditional
I know,
East
I know.
Coast is a fucking.
Right.
I mean, like, dude, I would see fistfights in the streets in Portland for some of the shit that goes down here.
For
if I was
sure.
back-
For
back
sure.
east.
Well, yeah, 'cause-
People
absolutely.
would not put up with it.
Well,
Again,
try ordering a bagel or meal.
If you lay down in the middle of the street
Do
to
we-
try and obstruct traffic, dude, in Pittsburgh, you have a problem. man.
here's another thing though. I think if we go back to regional differences and regional like where this song came out of, where this guy's from, I think there's a lot of blame on the North. I think that just ties in is
It's a
regionally
soliloquy for
right.
some.
So sure, DC's right there. That's where policies are made. That's where
it.
litigation happens. It's where the president lives. Is where all shit goes down. But I think there's a lot of
But those people come from all over the country.
specifically in Virginia. Specifically,
Did Virginia get like
there's
super
a lot of
shit
Hold on, Mark.
posts?
there's
Hold on,
just
Mark.
a lot of
Hold on,
pointing.
Mark.
There's just a lot of pointing fingers. A lot of pointing fingers for the lives they live, right? And I didn't play that game.
Or we, people here in Oregon will point at Salem.
They're holding us down, man. Yeah, sure. But
point
Salem's
Salem.
south of the biggest,
Right. But people point to Portland. People point to
right?
Atlanta.
They point
They'll
up for the problems. They point up for the problems, right? Where's the
Los
problem line?
Angeles? Like,
Right.
they always point to
Right.
the major city. They're like, it's that city's fault.
That's the problem. That's our problem. No, you got to look a little deeper than is it really?
Yeah.
You know,
Our problems are what do they say? Our problems are generally local. It's within ourselves to fix, and that's why I
within
said
ourselves.
we've got to take that idea.
We've poisoned community.
And as somebody that didn't stick around and felt accosted for it, so somebody that didn't become a townie, for someone that didn't stick around and just get by and did something that like nobody else did, and I don't have those friends. They're not my friends anymore. I left.
Eli wants to say something.
No, Eli doesn't.
I just think that this song coming out, Richmond, north of Richmond.
that shit slaps.
But it's
But
been
why?
like this is
But
not
why?
an
And,
editorial
like,
that hasn't been written before.
Again,
That's my
He's
problem.
just talking about.
I think
he's
it-
talking about Washington D.C.
I think it just like really strikes the going back to like the Confederacy versus the North, man. Yankees.
So Yankees would be in DC, right?
Sure.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
No.
Well, okay. The fine.
I'm asking
Where
you,
the war where everything came to a head in Civil War is Richmond, right? Like that was a pinnacle point. Going back to it, and I've
Antietam.
I've been in Civil War reenactments. I love that fact about me. I
love you.
I love that fact about me.
which
the
side
battle,
were you on?
the
All right,
Battle
all
of Newmarket. I was on the south side. And I was a bugle boy.
Mark, we
But-
need to not go too far into the Civil War.
Like,
Let him finish the statement.
again, I just think this strikes in Appalachia versus politicians on the Hill sort of thing.
But
which no one really understands outside of that region that deeply.
But all those people come from all over the country, so it's not a.
Not really, though. I don't think so.
But it's-
I don't
no,
think so.
no.
Because a lot of my friends, they work for constituencies, right? And they work their way up. And like I had that option. I could have went to DC, work on the Hill. I worked for the Obama campaign. I was in there. I was a Obama founding fellow. I could have made my way to the Hill. That's not the life I wanted to live. I want to get out of that shit.
Yeah.
I came out here and now we're talking about the shit that's this song coming out of my region, right? Where it's just like, you guys just want to shine and do whatever the fuck, it just like live that life.
But those people in DC. So as somebody that did work around there and did work on the Hill
You did
and
too,
did
yeah.
it, I literally stopped and I said, and I've told this 100 times to Eli, didn't matter the party. It is the most corrupt individual that it will do anything to get that person elected that oftentimes ends up on Capitol Hill with the best job.
That's the filter.
And
because-
the town car and everything.
Well, yeah, and they get everything that they've ever wanted, and it's like, but you sold your soul.
Sycophant, man. You have to be a
You
sycophant.
sold your soul, and they come from all over the country because they had to work the campaign in Missouri and Texas
talking
and
about
Minnesota
campaigns.
and Mississippi. They had to go and they had to get that person elected so they can get that job, and then they have to keep power. There are lobbyists on Capitol Hill that I've worked with that make $100,000 a month. A month.
Yeah, dude.
$100,000 a month.
Do opposition research during a campaign.
Why do you
No,
think
no.
so many of them are actual psychopaths?
Because they are, because
it sorts for them.
It is the
It
biggest.
selects that sort
it
of
is
person.
the biggest bunch of grifters you've ever met.
It's
Tampa Bay.
There are
baby.
people. There were people like
Florida didn't
remember.
care.
Remember, you guys think there is no difference.
So corrupt.
Let me say this: there's no difference between Tucker Carlson and Simone Sanders.
There's no difference
No
between
difference.
Tucker Carlson and Lady Gaga. They're entertainers, dude.
That's it. Exactly.
Okay.
You put it out
They're
perfectly.
entertainers, bro.
They will say anything to make the dollar. Come on.
What's his face? Lars
No.
Oh, Lars Larson. Same thing.
That's
Lars
what they'll
Larson.
do. They'll do
Entertainer.
whatever it takes to make the dollar, and that they will say and they will do and they will treat people awfully. And that's why, for me, I believe that we have to come together as a better society. And this song just simply points out we're all feeling it. We all have that emotion. That's why if you watch black guys react, they're like, yeah.
But that's what I take problem with the way it articulates it. The way it's saying it, I disagree.
Well,
Like,
that's
yeah,
fine.
there's problems. Okay, I agree. And these are the problems. Well, okay, I'm maybe not on all of them.
But if
What's-
you get 90% away to yes, does that 10% really matter that much?
I'm making you a pie, and it's 90% pie and 10% shit.
No. I'm not asking.
That's
this,
not logical. That's not logical.
Yeah,
Like I
this
said,
isn't a pie.
You're feeling above.
you
You
have
got
to-
90%.
but this isn't a-
You're
minutes
taking
and
it
10%.
wholesale. You take the whole song. You can't clip out
this
parts.
isn't a pie though. This isn't just a pie.
It's all together.
It's literally going, well, hey, you don't have to agree with everything.
Yeah,
Sure.
I
But
can say
some
that.
things aren't for everybody. So at the end of the day, it's like, okay,
Exactly.
take what you need, leave the rest. It's like opinions.
Are the majority of
Hey, look,
people
I
are the
don't
majority
agree
of those millions of views on this song? Are they diving into the lyrics like we are? Are they analyzing this song for the
Oh
words?
my god! I'm sure that people have gone so deep they've created conspiracy theories about this.
I think
song.
it's-
People
Aliens.
were.
I think
No,
this
it's not
song
with aliens,
Sure,
the Confederacy.
sure.
But anyway, that's
You know,
neither.
okay, but
That
I'm
fucker
right
is
track.
not real.
just-
okay,
It's America, dude.
Sure, but like
all-
I think this song gets played halfway through and they go on to the next thing.
No,
are we
it gets played all the way through.
Why
I
would
don't know.
you do
Yeah.
that to the conversation?
No, I think they play the song all the way through.
You think they're listening?
It's
Do you
dude.
think they're listening to the song like
First
we're,
off-
we're
first
talking
off-
about it?
No.
And here's how I
No,
know they're
I
not.
don't think everybody is.
They played at
I
the
don't think so.
Republican
That's why I
convention.
think this is the flash in the
the
pan.
debate.
It's being used. Yeah.
So once again,
We're talking
they
over
are playing. People. I said the average American plays a full song. Do they dissect it? Probably not.
Probably not.
That's what I agree. But what I'm saying is that if you're looking for answers and solutions, and you've said, hey, we've identified 90% of the problems, and this 10% over here, we're still iffy on. Why spend all of our time on that 10% problem when we can spend the 90%? Now we've identified the 90% of the issue. Let's go fix those 90% issues, and that 10% one that is important, we'll come back to.
No, I think that okay. So also, I think we have generational thinking going on here.
But I just asked a question.
No,
is there something wrong that if you're 90% of the way there, you've got 90%?
I just was trying to say you have generational thinking because Eli wants to articulate and he's focusing on things that he thinks that are idiosyncrasies in the mechanism you're talking about.
In the song. But all I'm saying is if you've got 90% of the issues
you're giving
identified.
It 90%. Are you sure it's 90%?
Yes. It's 90% of the
90%,
issues.
What does that do to your issues with the song?
I'm saying it's 90%. If you're 90, I gave a hypothetical. If you're 90% of the way there on something and there's 10% issues that you have not worked out, can you at least say, let's get this 90% done?
Eli.
Yes or no? Can we?
That's not a yes or no.
It is.
No, it's not. You gotta let people explain themselves, dude.
Well, no.
That's not fair.
It's yes or no. I asked a yes or no question.
I'm not at liberty to say.
That's not fair. That's not.
You want to put me into this neat little corner of
Fine.
a theoretical
Don't answer
song.
it then. All right.
Answer the question.
If you and I got 90%, if we had differences, right, and we were able to find 90% of them, we're like, okay, we're good over here with this 90%, this 10%, we're still shaky on.
Yeah.
Would you rather move forward with the 90%, or would we spend all of our time on the 10%?
How could I say no? I mean, we moved forward with the 90, but
you're prescribing the model.
Hold on, let him answer.
I think that for me to be fully you don't go forward completely with a 10% variant.
But you don't spend all your time on that 10%.
No, you do. You work it out to 100.
Putting a man on the moon.
We have to, and then we have to agree. It's 90% good. Then we have to agree.
That's what I'm trying to say, dude.
I think that's what I was picking.
But none of us want to do anything that's 90% good.
Saying it's 90% good.
No, I didn't say that. I said we've got
theoretical.
We've got 90% move forward. Yes.
We move forward with the 90%.
Yes.
And we come back to the 10% later.
Totally.
Sure.
My answer is yes.
I'm not talking about a general
That's
idea.
all.
I'm talking about this song.
He's not saying that.
Right.
He's not
Guess
saying
what?
the song is 90% there.
Are you not? Or is that not? You're not.
No,
saying.
I am talking about
Generality.
I'm talking about the idea of that we as Americans and people, that if we get 90% of the way there and we're like, hey, there's this one subject matter that we can't agree on, and we're like, we'll come back to it.
That's a prerogative
I just think, all right, so let me all right, here's my statement. This song does nothing for me, honestly, because it's people like me, people like you. It's a damn shame. Sure.
Okay.
But it's not like people like me, right? No, sure. It could be people like you, but it's not like me.
Thank you.
Because this isn't my anthem.
Well, I've been here before, and I
have too.
Yeah, and that's why I identify with it. I identify with the music.
I don't.
And I see why he identifies with it.
don't.
And all these other Americans do, and I see why
That's
you
okay.
don't. Because I
And
don't.
that it,
That's
no,
okay.
it is. Yeah,
identify
it is
with
okay. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
nobody's mad about it. I just
want to make sure one thing though. I just want to make sure when we're using prerogative questions, which I have a real issue with, that we're not saying that the song that we listen to is 90% there.
That's what I was thinking.
And with that, this
I
is the
resonate
Sunday
with
Funday podcast.
You ever heard a song called Juice? It was all a dream. I used to read Word magazine.
This has been the Sunday
Heavy D up in the
Funday
limousine.
podcast.
Wrapped
The
them all in ball.
hangover never sounded so good. Sometimes you don't come to the conclusion. You don't have all the answers, but you know what? At least you had the conversation. And you don't get up and just scream off from the table. Sit around, take your beatings, take your lickings, listen to other people,
Take your lick.
and sometimes you just move on.
Gets the final word, folks.
Always, because it's literally my show. Have a great day, and even better tomorrow.